Dungeons and Dragons.
And junk drawer. I'm a snake.
We're back. And only 22 minutes late. Not a big deal. Whatever.
Or 7 minutes early.
23 minutes late. We are the people known as Dungeons
Ding.
and Dragons and some other stuff.
Ding. Again, I went early.
You don't seem so good, John.
Ding for a second time.
Ding.
We are back with another episode of Dungeons and Dragons and Junk Drawer.
Ding.
Excellent. We are going to get started with our first shot of the night, as always, presented by our Lord and Savior, Josh Delgado.
I will do this in the style of SpongeBob. Fuck you, Donovan. Much less
Good.
SpongeBob and more just like, I don't know, quirky little me. I'm just a silly little goofy guy.
Absidy.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
It's goofy. Goofy
Mattresses.
Wow. Okay. This is going to be a weird session, guys. I can already tell.
I've been up since 4.
Please follow us on all social media. You can find us at The Junk Drawer Show on every single platform. Instagram, Facebook, MySpace especially. Our MySpace is strong.
Friendster.
Our MySpace presence is good. Friendster's good.
Vimeo.
You could also find us on Ask Jeeves. We have a very strong following on AskJeeves.com.
Review us on Yelp.
Please like, comment, and subscribe in all of those places. Follow us here on Twitch to know when we go live. It is normally around 8:30 to 9:30. Yes, it is like an hour window. Sometimes it's closer to 8:30, sometimes closer to 9:30, whatever. Yeah, it's exactly it. I have a small baby child, and she does what she wants, so that dictates a lot of what we do. 7-month-olds, power trip. Anyway, going back to our last episode, it opened with some frustration on the part of the Odinsons. Thor, seeing Loki in very poor shape, was very angry and frustrated with the group, and uncontrollably, or for whatever reason, his emotions were uncontrollable, and it caused lightning to strike the members of the party not named Loki and Thor. Alder took it like a champ. Thok had actually knocked unconscious, but Thok, being an orc, brought him back up and brought him into a senseless rage, mindless rage, blind rage, fury rage.
That's the best
whatever.
way to say it. Yeah.
He was
Frenzied
cranky.
Rage, whatever you want to call it.
Frenzied rage, that one.
Get a fear boner.
Like,
It was a frenzied rage, and he did not know friend from foe. So he decided he was going to strike Thor, and that just opened a world of issues. That slowly comes to resolution as the party works their way over to Ashiki's before they leave this cursed place of what formerly was known as White Willow Plaza. They are able to find 3 scraps of paper that have the demon's name on them and a sack and journal of Ashiki's that Loki is in possession of. They get all the way back to the Isle of Storms, confront Ren based on information that Alder and Thok had given Thor and Loki. Came on a little strong and probably scared and insulted Ren a little bit in the way that she was feeling. And Thor may or may not have called her a chicken. That was a miss on his part. It's not a big deal. I mean, Groot is tree and Rocket is rabbit, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad, all things considered. At least he's in the right species. So, with all that being said, does anyone have any radio?
So the 4 of you, after confronting your newer owl humanoid friend,
Chicken.
The 4 of you, and then I believe Heracles was with you. So the 5 of you are currently in the stable-ish area where Hercules kind of brings mythical animals to. You can hear the rain outside crashing onto the top of the cave or the temple as the 5 of you are kind of in this very quiet silence before Heracles kind of looks at the 4 of you and he goes, I'm gonna go. This seems like yeah, that sounds like, oh, what's that? Yeah, Abby, I gotta go. Abby's calling my, it's not, I'm making an excuse, this is awkward. And he just kind of beelines away from the 4 of you. Kind of clears his throat, and it's just you and his Pegasus and a few of the horses.
I'm going to go over and start petting Pegasus. Just kind of squishing under the big giant fucking head. I'm going to turn and look at Thok, Alder, and Loki and just say, I could have went better. But it's good to know Alder's mother is okay. Thok, I would say to get in touch with your people as quickly as possible. I'm going to make sure that we're okay here.
And like, the more that I think about what happened, yeah, I've could have gone better, definitely. And what she was saying, from what I recall, her boss, because she's bringing it back to me right now, her boss made an agreement with Pointy Badman. We made an agreement with her that Ren could come with us to help us end things. So we did not make an agreement directly with Pointy Badman. Pointy Badman did proposition me, as I told you before, and I told him to piss off.
And Thor will look at Loki. I don't think that this is a bad thing per se at the moment. I just think that Pointy Badman is going to help us until he needs to kill us, or at least try. So just be aware that the knife in front of you could quickly become the knife in your back.
Well, also keep in mind that not everyone that's associated with said individual is
Pointy Badman.
bad per se, yes. Because I actually ran into an old friend while we were there. His name is Absidy. And he
Can you spell that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's ABCDE.
Yeah.
And
God, I hope that's a family name.
could actually be something that helps us out in our favor. Absidy is actually in charge of the demon boars. So that potentially could be allies on our side when shit hits the fan.
Wait, you said he's not bad. The demon boars were trying to kill us. That sounds pretty bad.
It wasn't great. I mean, Adam
No.
stabbed you in the leg and tried to
mean,
kill Loki.
I said not bad, but it wasn't also, he's not good. He's pretty chaotic. He out of game. Does Thor know that or not Thor, what the hell am I saying? Thok. Does Thok know that Absidy is the avatar that he is?
That he's the
Avatar of greed?
Greed.
the sin of greed. I don't think it's been it's not officially
Mentioned.
confirmed, but
Okay.
you can kind of.
If I'm not mistaken, Lucifer did mention that
Did
he was potentially going to be. I don't think he confirmed it, but he said
That
there's a
he
chance.
is okay. Back again. He's like, yeah, he has some sticky fingers. So I mean, that's not again a bad thing per se. Not a good thing either. I mean, I was a thief myself, but I stole from the rich.
You also didn't try to get us killed. That's more the point I'm
Well, he didn't. He wanted me alive.
You alive.
That means us killed. That means us killed. Just for reference.
He just whoever got in his way. Just again, sorry. That was my fault. But.
We are not here to pass judgment on anyone at the moment. Just again, be aware. Anyone that works with Big Pointy Devil Man.
No, I know he's not the best of deities,
Yeah.
but it's potentially an ally against something else, the enemy of my enemy, I guess.
Right,
So
until he is actually our enemy, because he does, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had said they are planning a separate coup to take over the world, and they just don't want these guys to do it first. So eventually they will be a problem.
Yeah,
but they want to take over the world. It's better than destroy the world.
Is it? Is that better?
The
you can
easiest
potentially
way to
stop.
look at this, rather than to argue, is we have the same goals until we don't.
Correct.
So
and
just
we
have
at
to be
least
careful.
know that they want to double cross us, so that's one step ahead.
Thor, might I remind you that I wanted to take over Asgard, not destroy it.
Right. And where did we send you, Loki?
Right, but had I taken over, perhaps it would not be destroyed. All I'm saying is one is a bit better than the other. Tossing it out there. Don't worry about it. It's down the road. More mischief, more trickery. It's all me, bruh.
Brother, if I'm not mistaken, you held the throne of Asgard as it fell.
Yeah, I didn't want it anymore.
Convenient.
Guys,
I don't think I ever knew that you. So have both of you held the throne?
Oh,
I
that's
have-
so long ago. Where's Ned?
I've never officially held the throne as king. I guess I've kind of taken up the mantle now, but my father is missing. Loki, something we need to talk about there. But unofficial king of Asgard, I suppose. But yes, Loki was on the throne for a brief period of time before Ares destroyed the place.
Sorry.
Well, that's all in the past. I think it is quite late and I am quite hurt. I would love to go to sleep right now. Right, DM? It's late.
we've had a day, to say the least.
It's like early evening. I wouldn't say it's like super late,
like 6.
but you guys have been.
But we've gotten fucked.
You guys got fucked up.
Yeah.
Like there are, I would say, smells coming from the kitchen of dinner being made, and people are still moving around and about.
Then I will replace the word sleep with eat dinner.
I'll catch up to you after I make a call.
Why don't we have we have meals delivered to the rooms, and we kind of rest early, meet bright and early tomorrow, and reconvene, figure out where we're going next.
Sounds like a good plan. I was going to go to bed anyways to get a full sleep in, so that way I can get up early and try and make a nice breakfast for everybody.
No one else wants pine cones, Older.
When have I ever made pine cones for breakfast? I've told you guys it's a dinner food.
That's a good point. I forgot that.
But I'll see you guys in the morning.
Good night,
And I'll-
everyone.
All right.
Good night.
And
Okay.
Thor will hang back.
Okay. As everyone separates, Thor, you linger in the back, admiring Pegasus, where you remember when he was just a baby, a pony, and now has become this big, majestic kind of creature.
Not my thing, but I get it. I see the appeal.
Well, you remember a conversation with a teenage Heracles. When you can't fly, you trust in others.
I'll just rub the nose, and then I'll kind of look at Pegasus and just say, do you know where Ren is? Her quarters are?
Give me 1 second. I have to pull something up.
How smart are you, Pegasus? Let's find out.
I mean, Pegasuses are
I
average
would
intelligence.
assume they were like a little smart.
He's smarter than Hercules.
Pegasi?
He has a 0 modifier.
Don't we all?
No.
No.
1.
-1.
Question.
Yeah.
Does a 23 hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're looking at Pegasus just headbutts into you, which is, you remember this was a thing that he did with Hercules. You take 3 points of bludgeoning to the dome as he kind of like, he's excited.
Yeah.
And he
I
kind
take
of
it as a sign of respect. Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
No, definitely not trying to hurt you or anything. But Pegasus does kind of like stamp his feet a little bit. He's not chained or anything, but you see that he slowly kind of moves and gestures almost with his neck down the hallway as you see the different kind of rooms. It looks like for Ren did get like a makeshift room. And out of it looks like it was almost made out of like a bunch of scrolls that maybe she put down over each other and made almost like a welcome mat. And it says like Ren on it.
I will go up to Scroll Hall and just kind of like sit crisscross applesauce out in front, and I'll like clear my throat. Excuse me.
And you hear like a bunch of shuffling inside, like papers like, oh, shoot. What? 1 moment. And then there's like a little creak, and you see like a big owl eye. Hi, Thor.
Hello. You working on something in there?
Yeah, a few things, just getting together things that research. Lots of interesting things here on the island. A lot different from Papal, where I'm from. For instance, never really met a Pegasus before, so that's pretty interesting. Things like that.
Did you avoid the headbutt?
On my first day, yes. Second day, no.
Sorry, and it's not a great feeling.
No, I mean, I woke up like 20 minutes later. But yeah, a really bad headache. But Heracles helped me out.
I'm glad. I'm glad you and Herc are getting along, enjoying each other's company. I wanted to make sure I came and apologize to you. I wanted to apologize for being a terrible host. This is my island, so you are a guest here, and I assumed some things before I had all of the proper information. So, truly, I'm sorry. And as a peace offering, I wanted to offer you to stay in my quarters. And I would be happy to sit down with you at a later date and answer every single question you have about my time on Asgard or anything about Asgard history and lore. The time will be all yours, and we'll answer anything I can.
That would be Lovely. Honestly, I would appreciate that. And she cracks the door open a little bit more, and she goes, "Thank you for apologizing. And you see her like straighten her back out, and she puts her hand out. I accept your apology."
I will shake her hand. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everyone else apologizes too. I haven't cleared it with them, but I just kicked the shit out of all of them, so I promise they apologize too. And I will show you where my quarters are. You'll be much more comfortable than this scroll tent that you've very deftly made, but, you know, might as well stay in the big room if you get the chance, you know?
It's a really big offer. I appreciate it.
Sure. Shall we go?
Yeah, that would be great. Just give me 1 second, and you hear like the door click, and she eventually comes out, and she's wearing like a nice little like, I don't want to say it's like a, it's almost like a really long nightshirt, because there isn't like a lot to like. She's this big. She's not.
Yeah.
So it's like, it looks like it was a regular people shirt that just has holes in the back for her wings. And she has like a little notebook with her. And she goes, it's not for questions. I like to write.
I understand. I don't like to write, so you will have to do that for the both of us.
I can definitely do that. Definitely.
Great. Excellent. I will show you where your quarters are, and if you need anything else, just give me a holler, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
I will walk her to my room, and she will have the room, and I'll just find somewhere else to crash for the night.
Gotcha. I will say, because she's not in there, like Valdana's room is open. Any of the like rooms that Creed and them were staying in, well, they were staying in the ship. Room. I figured. And then we'll get to Valdana's room. Who wants to go next on what they're doing?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go. Oh, go for it.
What are you doing, Loki?
So Loki would have wandered away, not quite with Alder and Thok, but kind of just moseyed. I don't know if I would have noticed what Thor was doing. Loki's always kind of keeping an eye out for him, but not actively looking for it. So I'll let you decide if I'd have seen him or not.
I mean, you might have seen him, but it's really up to you if Loki would be interested, or he's just too determined / exhausted to care of what he's doing currently.
Okay. So Loki will notice it, kind of make a note of it, and just see that he's going to... Is it a hut? What exactly is it?
It's like between the hallways, there's like a dead space of nothing. Like, it could have been, let's say it's a place where like maybe some of the extra like casks eventually that Heracles had like started taking in, he was using it as like essentially like a glamorized pantry space. But so she essentially just hung up shop there, and you know, there's like a door, but the door is like a barrel that she kind of like hollowed out and like opened up and then put back in.
Okay.
And has like a little welcome mat in it.
Okay. So Loki would note that Thor was going toward Ren, and would be able to surmise what he's doing, but not interrupt, because he's not got the energy. So Loki will mosey about. It's not quite a castle, is it?
No, it's a giant like stone temple that has many levels on that surface level, and then I would say there are a few levels under it, but it's like a big trench.
Okay, and it's not raining on the island, just surrounding it.
So it is raining on the island, unless Thor, you can correct me. It's usually just a downpour. It's not torrential or anything, but it's like a continuous like shower.
Yeah, it would fluctuate during the day. Would be mostly sun, maybe a little bit of overcast,
Mhm.
but in the early evening to late evening, it starts to pour.
I would think of it as like cycles during the day of like what point the sun's at, as opposed to what cycle the storm is at.
Gotcha.
Like I know it's 3 o'clock right now because I heard 3 lightning strike, like that kind of thing.
Right. Okay, then what Loki's going to do is just find the highest point that he can in this building with cover. So if he has to look outside a window, he will. If he can find a roof top to sit atop that he won't get wet, he'll do that. But just somewhere where he can see a lot, as much as the island as possible, or
Gotcha.
just outside.
It would have to be outside on the top for you to be able to survey. I mean, if you wanted to fashion like a makeshift like tent, put it in like a tarp on top, there's the necessary tools to do that. It would just probably take you like 20 or 30 minutes to like set up and make sure it's like there.
Is there a spot where I can just sit by a window and just work a little bit?
I'll say for brevity, there are window, like almost like portholes littered throughout the temple that if you do some, I'll have you roll a investigation check to see if you can find like a quiet spot in the temple.
Okay. 20, nat 20.
Yeah.
So
You you do find one. Where particularly because this is a nat 20, where would you like this to be in? Is it in the back? Is it towards the front? Is it under a level and then like slightly up? What do you think?
The closest thing to a balcony that there is, or a roof, just something where I'm up high and can get. It's like a perspective shift.
Okay.
Is what he's looking for.
Okay. I'll say you're able to find it in whatever the equivalent of the like higher priest of the temple would have been living in. And it looks like they had like a little makeshift balcony area where they would possibly stand and look at the raging storm that brewed outside.
Perfect. So walking into the priest's room, Loki thinks to himself, "Oh, look at me, fancy holy man. About time." As
You just see it's more storage, honestly. Like Heracles is like, all right, well, she took that room, so
mine now. So then I'll just get to the balcony, the makeshift balcony, and begin looking at the journal of Ashiki's. Trying to gather any information that would help us, or just information about him as well.
Okay. How long are you taking to look at this?
I would take a good amount of time. I'm not concerned about eating right now. I'll get food when I get food. I'll sleep when I sleep.
Okay. Go ahead and first roll an Arcana check for me.
Arcana. 23.
Okay. 23. So as you're looking at the journal, you do see that it is essentially like magic locked on the front, but with your 23, you're able to, this is just a regular like enchanted lock spell. You're able to like trace your finger along the runes that were made it to essentially unlock it. And then I need you to roll a what is it? I'm gonna say this is an investigation check, and then roll a d4 for me. So roll both of them together.
Investigation 13 and a 1.
Do me a favor, change that d4 to a d6.
Okay. 5.
5. Okay. So it's going to take you around 5 hours at the pace that you're going to really understand, because everything is written in code.
Okay.
In coding. But with your investigation, if it was slightly higher, it would take that d4 as opposed to the d6. if you're just focusing on that, this is kind of what you glean from it. So in it are common notes, common journalings. Eventually, you get to the part where he had met you, and you tasked him with a few different things. He explains that, and then and you can see like he organizes. Sorry, he organizes it in a chronological order. So you have your date, roughly your month. And it looks like as you're kind of like thumbing through towards the end, because it's unfinished, the end of the book is blank. But towards the end, you see within the past like 8 or 9 months, there are symbols that are particularly coming up that you realize, oh, these are people that he's tracking. And as you're kind of going through, you realize he was tracking 3 people that upon, it looks like month 4 or 5, they had moved out of the town. But Ashiki had kept tabs on them and occurrences that had happened. Through the 5 hours, if you could roll another intelligence check for me, that'd be great.
7.
7.
I'm real bad at not in best mind.
It's okay. I'm going to give you, to an extent, he's using codes for them. It looks like there is one that he is particularly like invested in, and keeps referring to her. And it looks like he put in a code for them in the regard of Topaz. So Topaz did this. Topaz had a weird inkling on this date. The second one, which seems to be Topaz's either like family member, spouse, child, they refer to this person as Opal.
Okay.
And then the third person, which you can't really surmise if it was a pet, a child, or like a plant that they really cared about. This one was Amethyst.
Oh my god, this pencil keeps breaking.
But with your 5, you're able to with your 5 hours, you're able to surmise, like I said, he was tracking them, and around month 4 or 5 they had left, but weird instances that he equated to what was happening in White Willow also had affected Wanborn, Bradford, Solheim, and he surmised around the time of his death that they were going towards Vestergaard in the east. Now,
You're saying that Topaz, Opal, and Amethyst were going toward Vestergaard, or the other people you mentioned?
Nope. Topaz, Opal, and Amethyst.
Okay. What were the other names? You said Bradford, Solane.
So these are the town names.
Oh.
It's
okay.
Wanborn, Bradford, and Solheim. And then the 4th town is the city of Vestergaard, which is a massive port town city. Around that time, the reason why things had stopped, that in these 3 towns there had been an increase of infernal and abyssal activity. Kids missing, more of the same. Abductions, possessions. And throughout the margins of this, you can see the symbols of Galgra Ras throughout. And it looks like towards the end, he says to the point of, I need to get answers. I need to bring the demon here. Ion guide me that the seal doesn't break. Which you can surmise that the seal most likely broke.
Yeah, I don't think it went well.
Okay. And that would be the... Is that the end of the 5 hours?
That would essentially, yes. That would essentially be, I would say you probably are able to read through it within the first like 3 hours, but it's the final 2 that you really sit down and you're trying to, one, decode what the fuck he's talking about. You probably have an inkling, but nothing can really be confirmed. 2, how he got this information regarding this demon, like, and you have the towns of where they went, because those are also in code.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, upon reaching the end of the 5 hours, Loki's going to look out the window and realize, oh my god, I missed dinner. Well, time to get some food. So he gets up, kind of packs himself up. Go ahead.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oops. Perception. Let me do it again. Okay. Perception. 17.
Okay. With your 17, as you're getting everything together and you're starting to leave, by your door is a full plate of what looks to be poultry, some root vegetables that seem to be steamed. It's cold. Some kind of carb. Let's say it's rice. It's a grain. And there is a bottle of Dragon Crush red wine and a glass there.
Well, well, well. Tonight's my lucky night. And he goes and begins eating. Do I have a sense of who brought it to me?
I'll say the minute you put the food in your mouth, you can immediately recognize Abigail's cooking.
Okay. Oh, one sec, baby. You going to sleep?
We were going to start Abigail, but all right.
Okay. Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
No worries.
So, I'll eat it, and as I'm doing it, I'm going to think about the day in general. Almost dying, Ashiki passing, sending him on past outside of this realm, and all the pain and hurt that I felt, and how I put that onto Ren alongside Thor. And then thinking, my instinct is to pretend it never happened. Thor did not do that. Thor presumably owned up to his mistakes. So I should own up to my mistakes. But I don't know how the fuck to do that. So Loki's going to start scribbling on a piece of paper, ripped out of his journal, not Ashiki's, so that he can present it to Ren next time he sees her. And he'll do that while he's eating, taking care to not let it fall on top of the food or on top of the scribbling.
Okay.
And that will be the rest of his night. After that happens, Loki will walk back to his quarters, rest with the journal investigation taking 5 hours. He's not going to do much more other than sleep because it's almost tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, it went from 7 o'clock. It's now midnight, essentially.
Yeah.
As everything else is quiet and still.
So, yeah.
Okay. Not a problem. We will then move on to Thok. Thok, what are we doing?
So, as we split up, Thok is going to walk towards almost like the edge of the little village, town, whatever we've created here at the Isle of Storms. And I will say that, like, from Loki's balcony, Loki can see Thok in the distance, kind of like walking towards the edge of town. And I'm imagining it's like a giant plateau with like a cliffside and then where the storm begins. And so Thok will just sit on the edge of said cliffside on the side where like the sun is starting to set behind the storm, but it's like still kind of sunny, kind of starting to go. And he's going to look into the storm and kind of think of Tibrin and cast Sending
Okay.
off to him. And he's going to say, Low on spells. What happened? Where are you? Is everyone okay? Where is the rendezvous point? Sue said. When will y'all be there? I love you.
Okay.
Let me know if you need me to repeat.
No. Let me see here. And they can send it.
They can reply coming back 25 words.
Right. Okay.
I wrote it down just in case because I had to count it out.
No
And
worries.
I figured he had time to think as he was walking towards the
Right.
cliff's edge to sit down and just stare off.
You get a very terse, like short message. It doesn't sound like Tiprin's like mad or anything, but it sounds like he's in extreme distress. And he simply replies with, "Not good. I love you too." There's a grunt, almost like he's been impacted by something. And the last thing that he says before it fizzles out is, Ethen Ula. Which, if you want to roll a intelligence check at advantage for me, you can.
What is Ethen what?
Ethen Ula.
Still not the best. Intelligence?
Yep.
That's a 10.
Okay, that's with advantage.
Correct. I rolled a 2 and an 11.
With the I will say with the not the endorphins, the
Adrenaline.
adrenaline. Yes, thank you. The adrenaline running, coursing through your head and your brain. You're like, what is a thenula? What is a thenula? And then your stomach drops. Your body is completely washed over by a cold sweat, and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. As you remember, about 5 or 6 years ago, when you and the Horizon were first together, and you were passing through the shores, and the clouds became dark, almost like ink had covered the entire sky. And tendrils sprouted from the surf. And each one of your crewmates were almost desecrated. Your minds filled with this one name of Endula, the mighty Kraken, the sunken god.
Fuck is gonna put his head in his hands. Take a deep breath. Obviously can't reply out of spells. He's gonna look up at the setting sun and just start to pray. To say, I know things are tough right now, but if there's anything you can do to protect them, to help them, until I'm able to figure out a way, please do it. And I'm going to use divine intervention.
Okay. Let's roll for it. I'm going to take a little coffee break.
Oh, hold on.
What you got?
I shit you not. I shit you not. It's 0, 0, and a 2.
What does that look like?
I would imagine as the sun is setting right before it goes behind the clouds, thought kind of goes into an out-of-body experience and comes face to face with Pelor. And
You see this older gentleman, and It looks like he's putting on tea. And he goes, "Hello, Thok."
Holy fuck, that actually worked.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. The material planes are quite shaky, a lot easier to push through.
Sorry, I'm kind of, yeah. Is there anything you can do to keep them safe, to protect them? I wouldn't have asked for something so personal, but I don't know who else to turn to at the moment. They're so far, and I don't know where they are. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my family again.
And he gestures over, and it's like there's a very short table that you sit at on the floor, very close to the ground. And he gestures and he goes, "Sit. Do you like jasmine? Tea."
Sure, I don't think I've ever had it, but yeah.
And you see him, and he pours a cup and sits in front of you, and he goes, "I can save the ship and the crew, yes. There, however, are things in motion that I am unable to interfere with. Not on your behalf, of course."
Can you tell me what they are?
"I can. They are to the northeast. And unfortunately, they came up with some bad luck, as Athenula tends to travel.
How far? If
It's quite far. The ship is managed now. I can tell you that, and I can tell you that most of the crew is still intact, though there have been some casualties. What I think is going to be crucial, Thok, and just from what I have seen, because it was not my doing that stopped Ntula. And he becomes somber for a brief moment before he looks at you and he goes, "You need to communicate with Tsunami when you can. Obviously, there are pressing matters, but I know this is important to you. And this is important to her as well. Because this is not the first instance since your disappearance that they have ran into Ntula. Albeit this one was a lot more vengeful."
okay.
"I'm so proud of you, Thok."
Thanks.
You may scoff, but look towards the suns. We haven't steered you wrong yet.
Right about that. Looking down at the tattoo on my arm, which is the symbol of Pelor. I do my best to redeem the choices I've made in the past. And I thank you for giving me a potential third chance.
Of course.
I'm hoping that it doesn't go to waste and I lose my family along the way.
If I may, Thok, without overstepping, that is your problem. You are on this ever-ending quest for redemption, but when are you going to forgive you and all the things that you've done?
I don't know. I've always figured that I guess I would know when it was time to forgive myself.
And that's an answer only you can give yourself. But something to think about and something to have in the back of your mind the next time you want to beat yourself up over something.
Thank you
Of
for
course.
never giving up on me, even when I did to myself. And I will do better at beating myself up for it.
Good. We must part now, Thok.
Till we meet again, I guess.
Good luck.
You too.
And you're able to reposition and unfix your eyes towards the horizon of the sea break as you're met again with that port.
I'll stay there for a little bit, kind of mull things over.
And as you said, Manu sits next to you as the two of you are like drenched in rain before you get up without really saying anything, and he walks with you, hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
Anything else that you're gonna do for the rest of the evening?
I'll walk with Manu back into the village, and in my head or his head, I'll say, "Did you hear all that?"
Give or take. It went black, but I can see memories, so yeah. It's heavy stuff, man. You all right?
Nope. But I guess it's all part of the grand plan. There's not really much I can do at the moment except rest and start to forgive myself.
He walks a little ahead of you and turns around, his back towards where you guys were walking. He's walking backwards, and he goes, "Yeah, we have a few things we got to mull over, but we'll figure it out." Yeah.
Thank you. I don't think I've ever said it before to you, and I know we haven't started in the best of terms, but thank you for the oddest friendship I think I've ever had.
And you see like a earnest like smirk as he mulls this over, and he goes, "Well, don't go start." And he gets choked up, and then he goes, "Don't start sucking my dick yet. Let's just get me out of your head. I go my way, you go your way, and we can chat over like holidays and stuff." And you see another smirk over his face.
Sounds like a date.
I'll bring the champagne. Okay. And then eventually we will round out the evening back to Thor. And you're in Valdana's old room. And I will say this is like the room of a young 20-something, maybe like a slightly older 18, 19. Like there are posters on the wall of like, I don't want to say like ye olde Justin Timberlake, but ye olde Justin Timberlake.
Team D.
Ye olde NSYNC.
It is going to be me, actually, as a matter of fact. So.
Oh, yes, it's Sirs Chris Kirkpatrick, Sirs Joey Fat One. Space
that's
Cadet Lance Bass.
Mr. Chip Skylark to you.
Shiny teeth. No, DMCA. That sounded too much like the song.
It's true. It was really good.
You did real awesome.
But you see amongst all of her knickknacks, you do see her music box that Vindrin had made her. And you crank it, and you can hear the song that plays. It's a very light, melody. And you see that the lid kind of unlatches. And just kind of like, I don't know if you're the intrusive type, if you're going to go through her stuff. Or it's one of those like little peeks, like, what's in here? And it just seems to be like different little heirlooms. You could imagine that she started collecting like little things as a kid, like they're rocks she probably thought looked interesting, the occasional coin. But taped onto the top seems to be like a arcane, almost like a Harry Potter style photo. So it slightly moves, but it looks like it was hand drawn. There's a signature to the bottom right you don't necessarily recognize, and it's a smaller picture, but upon closer inspection, you see a very young girl. Doesn't look like Valdana. There's some accoutrement, but she looks maybe like 12 or 13. And you can tell that this is her mom. This is Abigail. And immediately right next to Abigail is this scruffy, kind of dirty looking, bearded man.
Hobo.
Almost a hobo, yeah. And to the right of him immediately, with her wings sprawled out, with black and white, is Anya. And right under her, wearing a robe and this crook, wearing it looks like a crude neck, like little details, crude necklace of it looks like Fox, patron of Pelor, of a Kenku who's kind of just waving, and it's kind of going back and forth like that. And it looks like they're all smiling as they're prepping for this photo, this drawing.
I'm going to make a mental note of that to talk to her about that when we see her next. And I will, before closing the music box, kind of just put a thumb or finger in front of Anya, just in a solemn moment of realization and remembering with everything that's been happening. Thor, he's had time to grieve, but just another moment longer, just for her and just for him. And then he'll close the box and put it back.
And you do softly, and the bed is comfortable, warm, smells like her. And it's dark, cool, and it doesn't take too long before you're able to drift off into sleep because you are extremely tired.
I will make a note to try and get up and meet Loki in his quarters before we meet for breakfast.
Okay. With that, the four of you take the benefits of a long rest.
Yes.
Thank
the Lord.
And speaking of breakfast, Alder, how early are you getting up?
Well, I'm really glad that you didn't ask me anything about my night because I wasn't following Thok. Like, I was just gonna be like, no, bed and sleeping. I'm already asleep.
Yeah, I
heard
figured
something.
you mentioned it.
I felt
So
a disturbance in the forest and I just passed out.
You're like,
I
I
would
didn't
say,
do a
by the way-
trance or anything. I just went to bed.
So if you said we were, realistically, like it was pre-sundown when we went to bed, I'll say that, probably by like 8, he went to bed and maybe got like 9 hours in. So he's waking up at like 5 preparing. So that way around like 5:36 he could go cook. So that way by the time all their asses get up around 8, there'll be something nice for everybody.
Perfect. Yeah, and while you get up, it looks like the only other person that's really up is Heracles. And there's a moment where you're kind of going out towards the patch because in the really early morning is when the storm is the least heavy. It's almost like it's a sprinkle, not even a drizzle. It's like a mist. And the two of you are kind of like walking shoulder and shoulder, and he's very quiet. And he has this giant apparatus on his back. If you want to go ahead and roll a, I'm gonna say, ooh, what kind of check would this be? Do a survival check for me.
18.
18. You see that he essentially has the equivalent of like a plow.
Okay.
But you expect him to like get a horse to put behind for the plow, and eventually as you get out he kind of ventures to the right and you see him start strapping the harness onto himself, and he just starts jogging across this field, these crops that are there.
And I'm just gonna be like, agriculture enthusiast.
He just likes working out. He's doing cardio.
It's like basically like the people who like run with the sleds, only it's like a lot more extreme.
He's doing resistance training.
Yeah, for sure. Respect it. Respect the hustle, quite literally.
Football is life. And death. And football.
Season 2.
I can't wait. Anyway, so I would say you're able to collect a bountiful amount of stuff. Like Heracles has been taking care of this land. So the food is quite like abundant. So if you want to explain to me what you want to collect outside of like golden apples, you can pretty much find it here.
I mean, is there meats and eggs and stuff put to the side as well?
Yeah. There's like a hen house and like a livestock kind of area as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and focus primarily on getting plenty of eggs, peppers, onions, tomatoes. If there's any kind of cheeses, grab some of those as well. And then maybe some really just materials to kind of like make some doughs, to make some like rolls as well, to go with everything. And really just make like a nice like kind of egg casserole, realistically. That's just got a lot of protein and vegetables that give strong flavor tones, so that way it's very, very, very well taken care of, manicured, and obviously everything's, seems to be organic grown. We got a human plow, so
yeah. He's also the human plow in other ways.
He's got a big old dick.
I was gonna say
dang old hogger.
all them orgies, girl. He has to find a new hobby because he's not gonna fuck the people on the island. Maybe, we don't know. You haven't asked him anything because you guys are selfish. About his
any of them in
relationship.
wheelchairs.
Yeah.
There's definitely like someone who's been death by snoo-snood. Just kidding. That'd be too dark. But someone definitely is in a wheelchair. Because they fell. So you eventually bring all these ingredients back, and by the time you get back to the kitchen, like Abigail is starting to like, you see her drinking like coffee in the kitchen, and you just come back with like this armful of shit, and she goes, "Oh, do you want me to whip all this up for you, Alder? I can get started on that. I was thinking of making like wheat cakes, but yeah, those definitely work."
Oh, no. I used to, back when, a different time when we all met each other, I used to cook regularly for the group, and honestly, we kind of need to regroup to how things were when we first met a little bit. So I want to take care of this one to try and bring some of that magic back, if that makes sense.
And she kind of smirks and she goes, "Yeah, I gotcha. If you want to, if you need a sous chef, I can prep shit like a motherfucker."
I appreciate the help. Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
and the two of you kind of work in, I would say, like, I wouldn't say silence. You guys chit chat. She asks about, you and where you come from, and because she hasn't really gotten an opportunity to get to know any of you.
No.
So just little things here and there you guys talk about. She talks about Valdana and Creed when they were growing up, and occasional like embarrassing stories of like them fighting over like boyfriends and getting into little fights and just chit chat stuff. And eventually, after I would say about hour, you're able to make this giant bountiful kind of thing with all the prep and whatnot. And before she leaves you or lets you present it to the table, and we'll go to everyone else while this is happening, you see her and she pulls out like this pouch and she goes, I use this occasionally with everyone, at least back in the adventuring days. And she kind of puts a little sprinkling of something on top, and she goes, this should at least put you guys on the right step. And you see her and she smiles, and then she helps you take everything out.
I'm very, very, very appreciative of her assistance, her company, and hospitality.
And she just looks at you and she goes, that's what I do.
Damn good at it, too.
Lots of practice. And she like kicks the door behind her, like nudges it with the back of her heel while you guys are like armful of shit. We will move on to the next person, because I will say when Alder goes out for food, like the suns aren't up yet. It's just starting to crest. So Thok, I will say you're still resting.
I would say I'm the last one to get up after the night I had.
Okay. So we'll get to you last. So I will say then the next person would most likely be Loki with his morning meditation ritual. We haven't done this in a while, so I'm trying to remember all of your nuances as well. So we'll go to Loki. Loki, what you rested well, and your quarters are not iced over or anything like that. Then what's Loki doing?
After sleeping well and spending so much of his night singularly focused on that journal, he dreamt, maybe not dreamt consciously, but his subconscious was just pouring through the information that he was given. And upon awakening, he feels like he has it's like right there. It's like tip of the tongue kind of idea. So he goes and does his meditation. He'll do it in the center of the floor. He'll do the same things he did before, preparing it in whatever way, but of course not disguising himself this time.
Okay.
And as he does it, right as he reaches the end, he has a bit of a light bulb, and he kind of pops up. He doesn't take the full 10 minutes as he normally would. Around 9:30, 9:20, he pops up like, oh, okay. And he begins to use whatever level of illusion spell he needs to start doing like conspiracy type lines, going from one thing to another. Think Pepe Sylvia. And just drawing lines from one thing to another. Pictures over here, cities. He has the map of, not Valoria. What's the name of the continent?
The continent is Valoria.
Oh, it is?
Right.
I thought the city was.
It is.
Okay. So yeah, then map of large Valoria, and tracking where these 3 stone code names went, getting some chronological a timeline going, and just kind of displaying all the information that he had ascertained from the journal and making it a visual representation.
I will say, as you're doing that, go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me.
Okay. Idiot boy. 8.
Okay. No worries.
Still groggy.
Still groggy. So as you're working on this, it's around that time, Thor, you wake up, and you mentioned that you wanted to reach out to Loki, so you know where his rooms are. or his room is. Is there anything in particular you're doing beforehand?
I would assume that Loki's room is close to my quarters.
I'll say like across the hall, but you're not in your quarters room though, Thomas.
Right. So before going into Loki's, I would knock on the door to what is currently Ren's room and just check on her, make sure she's doing all right. And then I would go into Loki's room.
I'll say go ahead and roll a stealth check for me.
Stealth check. Not the best. What is my stealth? 11.
11. Okay. After the little knock, there isn't really much movement, but you open the door and there's this loud fucking creak. But as you open it, you see that your bed is neatly made. Everything seems to be, in fact, organized slightly. And around your, like, I don't want to say like dresser or vanity, but around like that area that you would like have to put shit, you see a bunch of almost like paper cranes and paper flowers that it looks like she folded.
And Thor will just laugh to himself and close the door quietly behind him.
Perfect.
Walk over to Loki's room.
Door slightly cold as you knock upon it. Wrap your hand, your knuckles.
Rap, riggedy riggedy rap.
Raptastic.
Loki,
Yeah.
are you decent or?
I'm more than decent. I'm fantastic. Come in, brother. And while he's not stopping what he was doing.
Okay. So I'll walk in and
It's just
assuming-
wall-to-wall
yeah.
crazy people shit.
Oh no, it's finally happened.
You know what it looks like? It looks very similar to what Dremel was doing when you had found him.
Oh
Albeit
no.
albeit a lot more controlled, and it's
Yeah.
a lot less permanent. But yeah.
You're sure you're okay?
Yes, I am. I'm good. I'm almost great. I'm so fucking close to great. Look. Good morning. Hello. I spent 5 hours last night poring over Ashiki's journal, and I found so much information, but I'm missing something, and I can't figure it out. You see, here is the timeline of events, yeah? And next to that, we've got the map correlated with the timeline of events. So we have a good idea of what's going on. We have these 3 stones, which represents 3 people. Not 100% sure who they are, but I know they are important. They left a few months ago, 4 or 5, and that's when he started following them. I don't... And Loki just rambles and rambles and rambles, not even checking if Thor is paying attention or comprehending. He's just rattling off all the information that's been swirling about in his head.
Trying so hard to like retain information.
And I slept. I did sleep. I promise.
Could how many people did you say there were?
3. He called them Topaz, Opal, and Amethyst.
Could it be Gracie and what's her face, Rosalie, and what's her face, the little one?
It could. But I can't find something to let me know for sure that it is. But all the evidence, although circumstantial, does point to it being them. You see here, and he starts pointing to the different cities. Every time that these 3 went from one place to another, let me turn, every point to one thing to another, abyssal and infernal things keep happening. Real quick, do those things stop when they leave? Do I know that?
There aren't details on what happens when they leave.
Okay.
There's instances of when it happens. You might have to visit those places or gather information on those places to figure out what happened further.
Okay. So I don't know what happens when they leave, but perhaps if we can go there. See, they went to Wonborn, then they went to Bradford, then they went to Solane. And all of that is going right toward Vestergaard. And I think there's something there. The city's massive. And whatever's happening in those 3 cities that they went through, and I'm sure more, or towns, is going to happen there. And that place is huge. And if it is, oh God, if it is the same thing that happened to White Willow, and Loki starts to get a twitch of panic. Oh no, the same thing that happened to White. Oh.
Wait, Loki, before you go off the rails here, Thok did mention something about a library. So maybe that'll have more information on what is going on.
How would it have information of things that are happening now?
It's not... From what I know of it, it's not a typical library. It is an all-knowing library. We can get more details from him, but if I understand it correctly, which is not always guaranteed, but if I understand it correctly, we can get some good information there from these places.
Why not just go to the places?
Because we don't have a way to fast travel there.
You
And
can fly. We've got
Yes.
Cloud from Alder. When Ned gets here, I can fly too. What I'm saying is if this is famine and White Willow is just the beginning.
Right. We know where famine is located right now, though. He spoke to Alder, and he told Alder wherever he feels most safe. So that's our best lead on famine right now, because we know he will at least be in that location.
But does he even know where he feels safe?
I don't know. That would be an older question. Brother, please, wait. I love that you're excited and passionate about this. I do have news. When you left and you stomped towards White Willow and Dark and Alder followed after you, I stayed back in hopes of speaking to Heimdall, and there was no communication. So I reached out to Father. I didn't expect to hear anything, but I did, and I saw him, and he was there.
You saw him?
He kind of. It wasn't him. He wasn't there, but like it was a projection of him, and yeah, he spoke to me.
What did he say?
He said that there is a lot going on right now. A lot that's not even within his control. He is hiding in another part of the plains. And the thing that I wanted to tell you the most is that he said he was proud of you and I. And he saw us on top of the palace when we were looking out at the dragon turtle. He saw that, and he told me that he was proud of us, that we had come a long way.
No. Surely you mean he was proud of you, and I was there.
No. That's not what he said, Loki.
Why could he not? Why could he not say it to me?
You were gone. I didn't think you would talk to me. I didn't think you would be there.
Not then. In all the years, the decades, the millennia. Not once, brother. I watched him shower you with praise. And he waits until now, until he's He's reduced to a cowering mouse. The great Odin. He waits till now to say that he's proud of me.
I understand, brother.
And as Loki's getting emotional, the illusions around him start to fade out from the top in a somewhat organized manner, just dropping.
Thor will move forward and just embrace Loki, and just hold him, and he'll kind of rest his head on Loki's head and just say, I understand, brother. We've all made mistakes. Father, most of all. Who knows if we'd even be here if Father had been a just and fair king, didn't oppose all of the individuals that he did. But it's you and me now. And I've always been proud of you, Loki, whether I've been able to say it or not. Too proud, I suppose. Can't figure where I would have gotten that trait from, but it's you and I. I'll let him go and like put him down, and I'll brush off his shoulders.
It's you and I. And that means more than ever, I need to right my wrongs. It's my fault. Famine has spread across the land. It's my fault. If those stones are those 3 girls, and they are heading to a giant city to do whatever it is they're doing, I have to right that wrong. And I need you. And Loki, almost shocked at himself for saying that he needs someone or something, he takes a step back and I mean, what I would like if we could both and his shoulders drop. He wipes his eyes. He kind of gives up any pretense. I need your help, brother, to be the Odinson that I was always meant to be. Not perfect, not the best, but the most me.
Well, I can promise you, wherever you go, I will follow. Just don't go alone. We're not doing that anymore.
Loki casts Mage Hand onto his shoulder. And he points.
Oh, is he going to save you from the Pit Fiend?
And Glover goes like this, and then turns his thumb down. No. No, he can't.
And Thor will throw an arm around Loki's shoulders and kind of drag him out the door. Let's go eat. Alder smell. It smells like alder. I just feel it.
Oh, I am ready for some pine cones to dry my weary eyes. And as they walk out of frame and out of scene, Loki asks, by the way, where's Ren?
Okay. And lastly, we are met with Thok as you wake up, exhausted, though gaining your benefits of your full rest. You
Uh,
go ahead.
Fox's eyes are just gonna be like bloodshot from like between everything going on last night. He feels all forms of emotions that he doesn't even know how to handle, like between freaked out, sad, but also happy that he was able to speak to Pelor. And first he freaks out that he overslept and missed the morning sunrise, and then he was like shit, and like does his quick prayer to Pelor. But he's gonna make sure that he's gonna take his captain's hat and he's gonna kind of like wear it a little low so that nobody can really see the fact that he's been crying half the night.
Okay. And eventually, the three of you convene. And Alder, can you describe the spread that is set amongst the four of you?
So we got fresh biscuits with a sausage-like gravy to go with it. Went full Southern cooking, baby. And then a nice egg casserole with assortment of colorful peppers, onions, a little bit of spinach in there as well. Hint of cheese, and then the special seasoning added by Abigail.
Perfect.
Sounds delightful, I know.
You are met not with pine cones, but all of that as the three of you make your take your seats.
My. Alder, you have outdone yourself.
I figured I think we could all use it, you know?
Yeah, I think we could. It's been it's been a time in the last couple of days and weeks and year, and oh my god.
As
How long has it been?
It's just been bad for a really long time. So
as Loki sits, he reaches into his pocket, grabs a bit of fleece, a bit of lint, and just kind of does a little hand motion, and a bunch of pine cones appear on the table. Not as food, but very clearly as decoration, as a way to honor Alder.
I thought it was gonna be on his plate.
You see all these pine cones start to bloom from the almost like from the grain of the table.
And I'm going to just, if the DM will allow, I'm going to go ahead and reach behind Loki's ear, and I'm going to druid craft, like just some flowers that look like Glover, giving him the finger as I pull away.
I'll give it to you because it's fun.
Fair play, Alder. Fair play.
Enjoy.
I hate that you guys are learning from each other. You should be learning from at least Thok, Lord.
Learn what? I don't have much to teach.
Look, I've learned a lot from Thok, and I cast Disguise Self on myself to look like Thok.
And then I tip my hat and I use Disguise Self to look like Loki.
All right, I hate this. Can we stop now?
Two
What's
gods.
funny is
I've died a bunch.
It's Thok in Loki's armor, so it just looks everything looks super tight on him, and it's Thok, but it's Loki in like pirate garb and just kind of like feet back. It looks like
feet on the table.
It looks like they switched clothes.
I hate all of this. This is terrible.
You're welcome. But it's great to start the day with a smile.
Well, Thok, I have a question, more clarifying than anything. You mentioned something about a library. I've heard of this library before. In the episode, I rolled in history on it, and I did pretty fucking good. Can you give more detail about this library and maybe just some additional information?
Yeah, and DM, please correct me if I say any of this wrong. It was if I'm not mistaken, it was during the meeting of the Council of Avatars when Creed took me, right?
Right.
To speak with them. Location wasn't really something discussed, but apparently it's still being guarded by Pelor's previous avatar, Tristan, who should have already been dead, but apparently is still there. Tristan, however you want to say it.
So Counts of Avatars told you about it. One of them is on this island, are they not? The shiny one, the gold one? Little boy kind of
Dirt?
looking?
Inferior? Yeah. Creed's another one,
Well, she's
but
not
she's not here.
here.
But
Would
we can speak to her through the necklace, though.
would Fira know of the location of this library? Because I think it would be very helpful to possibly make an advance there next, or at least put it on the list of things to do.
Yeah. No, we could definitely ask. I don't know if he would have the answer to it, especially as young as he is. But I mean, he's learned a lot in the last few years since I've seen him. So who knows? Like, he probably knows more about this kind of stuff than I do now. I've just been at sea. Yeah, that's a good point. We can ask him. Yeah. Speaking of sea. Oh yeah.
Sorry. As you guys are speaking about this, by the way, I'll also say Abigail has been around like refilling cups and like re-establishing plates and whatnot. So just so you guys know, you're not totally alone, but you're in like a safe space. So.
Right. Speaking of, since I don't want to ever keep anything from y'all, I actually had a conversation with Pelor last night.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. It's just wait. Excuse me. My crew is not doing good. Apparently, an old enemy has caught up with them. So I don't know if I've ever told you the story of how I met Sue and Tiberin, but long story short, it was back when me and Duke, you guys met Duke when all that shit happened back with War. With War, so, but pretty much when me and him were sailing, we had run into a ship that had been pretty much demolished, destroyed, and noticed that there were still a couple survivors, i.e. being Sue and Tiberin. And there was a monster, a sea monster, that had attacked her ship. We were able to chase it off, but not without pissing it off. And it's been kind of... I think I've told you guys about it before. It's a Kraken. And I have a feeling that this thing finally has caught up with the horizon. And I know which direction they are. And I know that they are far, and it is out of what we are currently trying to do. But it is very hard to focus on that. It is famine. I almost said fathom. And, sorry. It is very hard to focus on the task at hand when I can only think about my family and their safety. And I just wanted to share that with the group. Yeah, so that's where my head is at. So I apologize if I'm kind of not 100% mentally here, but yeah, and then I just start chewing down on some food.
Fuck, is that where you'd like to go next?
That's not even a question. That's a given.
And I'll look to the table. I will stop Fuck. He doesn't need to explain himself. And I'll look to the table and say, Does anyone object to saving the people that saved half, if not more, of these people on the island?
Eh,
Alder, big head no.
and
So you don't want to save them. No.
fuck them.
No,
Alder's
no,
like dead.
All of them.
No, as in not object.
I'm the Sioux now.
I'm the pretty first mate.
And my axe.
And seeing Alder's big no, not at all. That's fine. Loki's torn, and he said, "Thok, do you know where they are?"
I just know that they're northeast and they're a ways away, but I don't know exactly what distance. I'm gonna try to get a hold of Sue at some point. Peller told me to reach out. I haven't been able to do that yet, but hopefully she can answer more of my questions.
I hope so too. I don't want to leave them, but there's so
No, I know.
much that we can't do it all.
No, I 100% understand.
And with that, Loki recreates the illusion that Thor had seen in the room, but much more organized and small. It'll fit inside a minor illusion 5x5 cube.
Is it like on the table? Like,
Yeah, think like Minority Report, where you can like turn it with your hand. So he'll do that and start kind of relaying all the information that that he had garnered from Ashiki's journal, and filling in any gaps that he forgot to tell Thor, because I believe there was a thing or two I forgot to say. Such as every city that these stones had gone to. I believe it was kidnaps, murders, just abyssal, infernal, all these things. And that with talking with Thor, we believe it's Rosalie, is that her name? But that group,
Gracie.
Gracie.
and the
Gracie,
child.
yeah.
And Loki's going to effectively
baby.
point out that this was, if it's not famine, which we know famine is wherever Alder is comfortable, it is all of our faults for killing the incubus, succubus.
Succubus.
And
Incubus is a dope band.
hell yeah. And that I'll go back into like RPing. We may not have meant it, but this is our doing. We brought it back to White Willow, and we did not come back for months. I don't know. Thor thinks that perhaps the Grand Library has more information, but I worry there's not time. They left 4 months ago? 5 months ago? At least 3 cities have fallen prey. And they're heading toward Vestergaard.
And you notice an audible wince from Alder at Vestergaard.
You know the place.
Vestergaard's where I was arrested.
oh,
Huh.
do you know where it is from here?
Give or take, I would say I probably have an idea.
Does it happen to be northeast?
Or where you feel most at home.
It's not where I feel most at home, I can
I'm
assure
going
you.
to say no to that last one. Even though I don't know for certain. Probably not
Loki
where
knows.
you were arrested.
Maybe he's into that.
No king shaming here.
I mean, it was hot, but that's also because of the fire. But no, it's not. Where I feel most at home is I I have that figured out, and that's back home.
So
Let's see.
the way I look at it is we have Alder to go to Volsera, where we know famine would be. Thok to take care of his people, save them, and potentially kill a Kraken, which kind of a challenge, a little bit of a goal of mine. And Loki wants to either head to these cities or make haste to the Grand Library to see if we can get some information. So the thing I will say, if I'm not mistaken, DM, would the Grand Library have a teleportation circle?
It's possible.
Okay. And then it would be pretty safe to assume that there'd be one in Vestergaard, yeah? Because it's just a metropolis.
You might have to look for it, but
Right.
it's probably not like a public transportation circle.
Yeah, probably not, but like, fucking showed up. Okay. All right. Back to RP. Maybe we could teleport from the Grand Library to Vestergaard, or since Alder's familiar there, maybe he could walk us through a tree on the wherever the Grand Library is. Take us through a tree into Vestergaard. Instantaneous travel.
Vestergaard, I did spend a good amount of time in that area, so realistically, I believe I could get us, as long as they haven't done any kind of deforestation around there, which hopefully they haven't. It would hurt if they did. Anyways, I'd likely be able to transport us there. That should work, but we have no idea where this Grand Library is, right?
While this conversation is happening, I'm going to look at Manu. I don't know if he is here or not, but I'm assuming he is. And
he's in the corner.
I'm going to mentally tell him, hey, can you do me a favor? And I hate asking this, but can you find dirt? And can you tell him to come here, that it's urgent? Not life and death, but
yeah,
we need to ask him.
He gets your gist.
I get it,
so
idiot.
I just nod at him, but I don't say anything out loud.
As he's getting up and you guys are discussing, you just hear a really loud from like where the kitchen is, where the door jam is. You just hear like a just like
Oh, this is real.
Justin pretended too well.
I was gonna say, wait.
Fireball, Brandon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is acting.
Ha! You thought I was dying.
And
Nope.
the award for best choking on live stream. Wait, that's probably not true.
yikes.
I'm doing yoga.
Man, half of that was coughing and half of that was laughing. I'm sorry. There's
Commitment,
a very
that's what it was. It was commitment.
thanks, guys. There's a very long, like, audible slurp without
Do you
the
want to
coughing.
try again? Do you want?
No. And as like the four of you stop talking and look towards the door jam, you kind of see Abigail, who's been listening to the entire conversation, and she just looks at Alder and she goes, "There aren't a lot of trees around the Grand Library. I don't know how you're going to move from one place to the other."
Wait.
Didn't we
You know
get
where it is?
a seed? Didn't we get a seed that like we can plant and it becomes a tree like immediately?
I mean, I have a spell that I can cast that creates a dwelling like that, but I don't recall getting a seed. Don't have anything in my inventory that I can remember.
I'll have to go back and look. Never mind. For the moment, you know where the Grand Library is?
That's where my train of thought went. I was like, fuck the seed. Wait, what? Come here.
And she just kind of looks at you and she goes, "Yeah, I've been there a bunch of times."
What the hell is it?
I mean, it's kind of hard to locate. It's between the Rust Marsh, which is this swampy area where the water comes in. It's so brackish, it's rust. And you see her visibly like shudder when she thinks about it, and she kind of zones out for a second, and then comes back in, and she goes, "On the other side is initially the beginning of the country of Valoria. I mean, it's on the outskirts of it. It shouldn't have been affected very much by the incursion. Um, yeah, it's nice.
Are you saying it's on the water?
I mean, I don't really constitute a swamp as on the water, but sure.
Would you say it's close to shore? Like, I know it's not on the like it's a swamp. Oh, it's not. Fuck.
And she
So-
starts shaking her head. She goes, "No, no, no. There is no fresh water that goes through that. It is very far away, very inland."
DM question.
Yeah.
Is this the same swamp as
Zunu.
It is not.
Okay.
Is it the same swamp as the froggy people?
It is not. Where those waters
Ribbit.
were, I would say, relatively like clean, albeit from like deep greens, browns, and blacks. From what she's
It says it's
recounting,
rust. It's just rust.
it's red.
Cool.
Almost
Oh,
Yeah.
rust. I thought you said
Rust. rust.
Yeah, no rust. Abigail, how long would it take us to get there from here?
I mean, from right here, I mean, it'd take you a couple of days, but if you can at least get to Valoria, if you don't mind, I mean, I can guide you to the library.
You want to come with us?
Well, there are odd circumstances that kind of come up when you have to go to the library. It was a lot easier when Tristan was alive and when my dad was alive and when Anya was alive. I'm kind of the last link of that.
So you have to come, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it sounds like we don't have much of a choice.
I'm not sure. Once again,
How
this was-
how are you the last link though?
Not super important at the moment. Let's just put a pin in that.
Sorry,
Just-
anyways.
Yeah. No.
I just sent Manu to get
You have to be
So I
you have to be
didn't know-
taken to the library.
So we couldn't just go. We have to be brought.
Oh.
Got it.
You would be kind of wandering aimlessly.
Okay.
Does that make
Um,
sense? I mean, it's hidden.
How quickly can you get your things together to leave?
Well, shit. I might have to dust off the old leathers, but give me about 30 minutes. I have to make
Which
sure
way-
everything's set for the rest of the island. She looks at you, Doc.
Which way is Valoria from here?
Um,
Thanks, Alder. Thank you.
and she kind of pulls up a piece of like scroll. Like she looks at you, Loki, and she's like, "Do you have anything I can write on?"
Yeah. And he reaches in, grabs a piece of his journal, rips it out, and hands it to her. As he does, fuck, I had it. Never mind. He hands her the paper, and we go from there.
Okay. And you see her, and she goes, you."
I got it.
I mean, you guys got to be patient. It's been an odd 20 years since I've been to the Grand Library.
But as you,
Give-
I remember what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
As he hands her the paper, he says, "You've been there before. Do you think it holds information that we need? Is it the most pressing? As you've heard, we have things pulling us in all directions."
And she looks and she goes, "Difficult question. The library is kind of like this is a temple to Thor." And she looks over at you and she says, "This was a conduit. Before you showed up, this was a source of your power since you've been gone. A never-ending storm. This is a lightning rod. There have been several things that have tried to come here, and then once, Anya came, this place became a safe haven. But it's rooted in you. The Grand Library is that conduit, but for Ayu, which I don't know if you guys are aware. And she looks over at Loki and Thor, but Ion's the tippy top of all of you Celestials.
Oh no, we are aware.
Very. And
And he is all-knowing. Does this library contain knowledge from everything?
Roughly.
Ion is the goddess of
God.
knowledge.
God, he's Dada.
Papa.
I would assume.
Upon hearing
Sounds like
we've used it.
this.
When the Triquetra was active, I mean, we used it quite often.
Sounds like this would have a lot of information, Loki. A lot. And we don't need to be near the Grand Library to find a tree. We can fly or move or travel somewhere else to go to a tree. This might be our best opportunity.
Well,
If Thok is willing to.
my proposition would be, what if we can go northeast, rescue the Horizon, take the Horizon to Valoria, because we know that Valoria has a dock, and go from Valoria to the library.
My argument there is we don't know that Valoria has a dock, especially not where we're going, and we don't know if the Horizon isn't in need of serious repair.
Well, we do know that Valoria has a dock from when we were in Valoria and Valoria got burned to the ground. How stable that dock is now is what's mostly in question.
Well, if it still has a dock.
what
I mean, that was the capital. Valoria is a continent.
Oh, I meant the capital. Sorry.
oh, so you're saying that it's on the edge of the continent and the Rust Marsh, not the
You
edge.
see her like expand the drawing a bit, and she scribbles, and you see that where she originally put like a little X is more towards the west southern hemisphere of the continent.
Opposite.
And amongst the others, you see that there are several places. The capital is here, which is more towards, I would say, the north and the east of obviously the southwest point. She goes, I mean, there are several. There's the port that you most likely took here. Like there's a body of water she drew, but you have everything on the outskirts of here, and you see like all under the eastern south of the continent is a body of water.
Right, so from here we'd have to go southeast. Because the Isle of Storms was, I believe, south.
it was
southwest.
south. Yeah.
West
Southwest from west east. It was west east. I believe it was southwest from Valoria, the capital.
Mhm.
So if we're going to the continent, the tip of the continent where she's speaking of, I believe that's southeast. No.
Give or take.
Okay, so that is literally in the opposite direction.
So to get a quick map, we have
While Loki's doing this, Thor's going to look at Olda. Olda, your mother sounded, from what Thok had said, in good spirits. Are you okay, at least not being in consideration for this immediate move?
Yeah, it's all right, but in my mind, famine is watching her.
I
That's
mean,
just
famine
something.
could be watching a lot of people if Loki's theory is correct. So,
Could be, but famine also said that he's going to be where I am most comfortable. Where I am most comfortable is with her.
if we wanted to kill him, he
Don't
would
make
be
Paul
there.
Farrow.
Exactly.
But is he going to move? I don't think he's going to move from there. He wants you to be there. So why would he move? He's trying to lure you in. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to do anything rash. At least
No.
not immediately.
You might be right, and I'm sure that, I mean, there's. I can't communicate with her directly, but my mother's communicated with me directly. So, if there's something that's going on, I'm sure we'll hear from her, and if that means a change of plans, we'll know what the change of plans has to be and when. Because at this point, with as long as there's a big enough tree, can get us anywhere at any time, as long as it's an area that we've been before. Or I can get us somewhere in probably like 8 hours or so. As long as it's within 8 hours of, wind walking, I can get us there as well. And wind walking moves at the, like, what, 8 times the speed we regularly can?
Something like that. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 300 feet per round, is what it is.
Hell
Gross.
yeah.
Hell yeah. So Thor's going to kind of just like rest his head in his hands and just say, okay, Loki and Thok, make your case.
So while that was happening, Loki was copying down Abigail's map to have an understanding of where each thing is. So this is what I have so far. It's super crude, but so we have Valoria,
Effective.
Isle of Storms, the ship, and then down here we have the library. Just vague terms. So Vestergaard, where is that? I guess out of DM, where is Vestergaard? Because Abigail knows, right? Or I guess Alder knows too.
Yep. Vestergaard is towards the east of where you're currently located.
Okay.
Okay. So
What's
a little
Vestergaard?
north.
Or no, I'm sorry, not where you're currently located. So Vestergaard, imagine you're back at White Willow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Vestergaard is to the south of the Saltstone Wharf.
Oh,
The
fuck.
Saltstone Wharf. Mm-hmm.
It's not close.
It is not.
Okay. So that's super fucking far. And then the last one, god damn it. Falsera is where?
Falsera is, excuse me, I need to look at a bigger version of it, but Falsera is.
Isn't it landlocked? Isn't it in the center of the?
It
I
is.
thought it
It's
was in the center of
It's
the
between
continent.
two mountains. It is landlocked. It would be on the, essentially think of it on the other side of,
Closer
where
to Valoria,
I would say
the capital.
adjacent to Valoria.
Okay.
Okay, so same area up there. Yeah. This is hard.
I need a message too.
While Loki's talking, you should do that. And come back with word before we make a decision on where we're going.
Okay. And I'll literally just step right outside of where we are, just to have clear head. And I'm gonna message Sue and be like, I spoke to Tiberin, aware of Ethin Ula. Can you give me more information? Currently at the Isle of Storms. Where the hell are you? Mark
Okay.
off that spell slot.
There's a moment, and there is I will say it's less like frantic as it was before, and a little bit more somber, but very sharp, very terse. And she goes, everything's fine now. I've got it handled. Take your time. I mean, that's not anything new at this point. I'll see you at the rendezvous. Don't reply.
I guess we know where we're going.
Motherfuck. Doc comes back and he's like, "Oh my god, she's in such a good mood. She can't wait to see us."
Just so excited for the wedding. So I'll walk back in and sit back down. And so matters aren't as pressing. Sue took care of it. So she's not very happy with me, which is not a surprise. But I think I can forego being an urgent trip to the horizon. It seems like she's, again, upset, but okay. Which gives me peace of mind.
Well,
So now it's between you two, Falsera or library.
well, I'm glad they are okay. And I
Thank
hope
you.
that, and he looks at Thor, I hope you are as well. And he's looking at Thor like, I'm caring about people's emotions other than myself. Is this how I do it?
Flock is gonna give you that look of, oh, bitch.
Okay.
And kind of like just nod and smile and say thank you. Like sincerely say thank you.
Of course. My thought, I believe Thor had mentioned teleportation circles. If we can make it to the library, and it does have teleportation circle, I would be shocked if Vestergaard and Falsera didn't have one. On top of Alda's ability to travel through trees. So I think Grand Library is where we start. And then from there, whatever information we glean, and he pulls out the Ioun stone that he attained from Ashiki. Whatever we learn from Ioun will guide us to our next destination. But, and he puts it back in his pocket, I cannot leave before Creed and Ned get here. And I think Valdana's with them. Yeah. And
DM, do we
Valdana.
know how long that is going to be?
It's going to be about a day or two.
Another day or a day from yesterday?
I'm going to say from where you're at now, about
Day or two.
a day and a half.
So the end of tomorrow.
We can't wait.
It's too long. I understand, brother. I want to wait for their arrival as well, but it is just as pressing as you had said.
I can't do. I can't be pulling people places and then not be there.
You're not pulling them places. You are bringing them to safety. This is their home for the time being, and they will be here when we get back.
And they also have the stone, so they can communicate with you as well. It's not ideal, but neither is the end of the world.
You said it yourself, Loki. Time is pressing. There is much to do, and we are only having less and less time.
Less time to do it in.
And while they're talking, Loki touches the communication amulet, waits until they finish what they were saying, and reaches out to Creed. Creed, it's Loki. Where are you now?
And you kind of hear like, well, I'm trying to get Ned Sano on, but he's being a dick.
That is my Ned. We have to leave again. I guess perhaps it is best if you stay where you are with Ned. Finish up what you're doing, what you need to do there. And one day we can rendezvous again.
And there's a moment, and she goes, "Are you dying?"
Aren't we all dying? Fuck, sorry. No, we're not dying. We are just pressed for time. There are many things in motion that I wish I could say, but I do not trust these channels completely.
And you hear her, and you can hear her smiling, and she goes, I understand. I have a few things that I've been neglecting as well. We'll reconvene.
Okay. Please take care of Ned. I want to be a better companion. And he looks at Thor. It feels weird to like own something that's alive, right?
It is.
It's
Yeah.
kind of it's a little weird.
Yeah. So
Friend?
Friend.
Did you say friend?
I don't think he likes me that much yet.
I mean,
You're talking
work up
about
to it.
the wyvern.
Yeah. Yes, Ned. He has a name.
You want to be a better companion for Ned.
Well, of course you as well, but clearly Ned needs me because he's acting out. He needs time with me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna stop making a digging motion.
But you can understand because your brain is full of wrinkles, whereas Ned's is also full of wrinkles, but it's much smaller. He cannot hear this, correct?
In the background, you just hear.
And she goes, the wyvern. No, Ned doesn't know what the fuck's going on. I'm just trying to put the fucking harness on him.
Yeah, he doesn't like harnesses. Fuck.
Thor's gonna poke his head up and just be like, "Remember when I told you to leave the wyvern here? Remember that?"
Yeah, but I was trying to bring him with. Fuck off. And then he goes back to it. Look, I am going to be a better me. That's all I can do. That's what I'm working on. It's why I'm thinking of others other than myself. And he looks at every member of the party and letting you know what is happening.
And you just hear her, and she goes, perfect. We'll reconvene. It's all right. I got shit to do.
But, hey, and please, reach out sometimes. I'll do the same.
I will keep that in mind.
You've got a nice butt. And then he... Let's go.
You never text first.
And everyone hears in the whoever's wearing the necklace just goes, I have a great butt.
I don't have a necklace anymore, so
I'm just tuning it out. I'm just here for a good time, not a long time.
Butts.
Others like
Zombies.
that's not
Anything else, guys?
true, Golda.
I mean, we did
You are-
also determine back in a previous session, because I went and re-listened through a lot of things, that they are kind of like a phone. You can pick who to talk to rather than talk to everybody.
That's true.
So
She
you
was
might not,
notifying everyone.
but
who
she
was
doesn't know how
wearing
to
the
use it.
necklace.
So you're right.
She's gotten some time.
She's stupid.
Yeah.
She doesn't know shit.
She's the idiot girl.
It's almost like she's had these before you guys have had them.
Weird.
So decision made then. Grand Library. Windwalk.
I do want to request some assistance from you guys, especially you, Loki. I feel like a library is going to be your cup of tea, as it were. When we get to the Grand Library and all of the history that's held within it, I'd like to fill some gaps in my knowledge. I would like to read about the history and the fall of Asgard. I'd like to read about Sif's reign as queen to see if I can get any more information about Ares and maybe where he comes from and why he's done the things that he's done. And Thor will look at Loki specifically. I don't want you to read it, brother. you've made such strides already. I would hate for you to fall back. So let me shoulder this burden.
Brother, where you go, I will follow. Be it physical or mental. I'm not the same man I was before. I will confront my wrongdoings, my problems. And I will deal with it like an Odinson. We will find paper. We will copy it all down. This knowledge will not be lost. We will relearn of our past, our history, together. And with these fucks. He gives a wink to Thok and Alder.
Here, here.
Well,
Fuck, it's breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast ale.
do you have a problem? Do you know? Maybe not. No, whatever. And Thor will look at Alder. We might want to bring some pints of your cask of ale that Thok bought you. Might come in
Dragon
handy in this journey.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see if we can, I mean, it should be in the quarters here. Let's see if we can get some kind of, like, portable carrying for a couple pints so that way we could all at least have one on us.
I think that would be for the best. And then we will meet here with Abigail and head to the Grand Library as quickly as we can.
Okay. It is decided. But seriously, where is Ren? I've got something for her.
Last I saw, she was in my room. She has left. If I was a betting man, I would say probably the stables or wherever Heracles is. They seem to get along quite well.
Okay.
So
Let's all get ready.
yes, sorry. I have a question because I think this is a perfect time to end tonight's session. Is there anything else we want to do while we're at the table? Because there are two things I want to do.
Level up.
We
Relax.
conquered our inner demons.
Yeah,
So-
we came closer as a
Now
group.
we don't need them.
Shut the fuck up.
The real levels were the friends we made along the way.
Correct. The real gold is the treasure of friendship.
Shit,
So-
everyone roll 4d6.
46. You're all new characters. Y'all got food poisoning.
.com.
So
That's what she sprinkled on it, was death dust.
correct. So it takes about an hour for you to finish your breakfast feast. I need everyone to roll 2d10.
Oh, fuck. Like a percentile or like just 2d10?
2d10.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
10
Okay.
and 4.
So 14.
Yeah.
17.
10.
Same.
Hold on. Loki.
17.
Thok.
Same as Thor, 14.
Okay. Alder.
12.
Okay. So
Third.
until the end of a battle, let's say, the next time you need to take a long rest due to damage. Until then, each of your hit points are going to increase to that amount. So as opposed to a hero's feast where it is a max of 24 hours, this is a legend's feast, which that increased HP is going to sustain you until the end of your next battle.
Nice.
Don't completely add it yet, only because, as you alluded, everyone can level up. I'm going to go pee. Do it on stream.
Do it. on stream.
We leveled up. What does that mean,
Haha.
guys?
Oh shit! It's
Oh,
been
shit.
so
I don't
long.
remember.
15,
I know.
15, 15.
Damn, we're level 15. Holy fuck, Knuckles.
God, that means I got
Oh,
so much
God.
fucking power, dude.
It did. It did only take
It's
3
been
years.
84 years.
It's been 84 years. Cool. Manage character levels. Let's fucking do this shit.
Dude, it's been so long that they've changed the navigation of D&D Beyond.
Oh my god. I don't even remember what hit die,
Carlos is like, I don't even know where to go.
right?
Where do I go, guys?
Okay, so mine was just overridden HP. That's how I did mine, was overriding HP. So now
Right. I was trying to do that math, and then he was like, you can level up. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that first, I guess.
what do I even get with level 15? Do I get anything at all?
I'm just gonna roll.
No, I
first for
don't.
points.
To quote Benjamin Chang, gay.
Yeah, I think there's...
Plus what? Constitution?
There's my PHP.
So I am leveling up. Are we saying what we're leveling up as?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm leveling up Barbarian. I just rolled an 8 plus 4 on con. So what is that? 12?
Never mind, I do get something this time
Plus
around.
12.
I'm seeing your chain. And I'm
So I'm level
I
5
get-
Barbarian.
I get my first 8th level spell slot.
Oh,
Yeet.
shit. Nice. I get another spell as well. I'm going another level of sorcerer. This is 9 levels sorcerer, 6 levels fighter. And that's a d6. All of mine are 6s. Oh, sick, a 6. Ha ha.
I rolled a
Yeet,
4
yeet.
on my D8, so get 7 new HP points because of my
HP
constitutions.
points?
Hmm.
Oh. Oh, well, that's bullshit. I was getting super excited because it was like fast movement. Starting at 5th level, your speed increases by 10 feet while you aren't wearing heavy armor.
Oh.
Bummer.
But I get plus 4 attack.
Wow.
Hmm.
Sweet. Holy shit, my hit points.
I was not prepared to make a choice.
Ha, idiot. Armor of lightning, what? No, I'm gonna learn erupting earth. And that's all I get. That's all I get this time.
Nice.
Shit, yeah. Fellas, I can wild shape y'all if I want to now.
Woo!
Cat. Oh,
Kraken.
no.
Saber-toothed tiger.
Pregnant.
Tyrannosaurus.
I think for the story, I'm going to go paladin because I get aura of protection. Pal-Edon.
Oh, I got a 5th level spell slot too, guys. Don't like to brag or anything.
But I'm a pretty big deal.
Woo. Y'all have 160 hit points now.
Jesus Christ. That's
I
awesome.
have 181. Suck it.
When and where?
I mean, I'm far, so it's not going to be anytime soon. You're doing paladin, you said? Is that a D8? I think it's a D8.
I think it's a 10.
Is it a 10? It might be a 10. It's been a long
Yeah.
time since I played a paladin.
Let's see what.
Rufio.
Can I want my 9 from before. I'll take a 7. 7's good.
7, nice.
So
Not
that
bad.
so that would be, that put me up to 81. Woohoo! Over 100.
Yeah.
I'm not super
About
squished.
time.
I know.
Can we level up again so I can get to level 16?
You want that
then-
ASI?
Then Mjolnir, well, that would be nice, yeah, but then Mjolnir gains 3 charges of chain lightning. So,
Josh, your hit dice is a D10.
yeah, he
Thanks,
rolled
Addy.
a 10.
Okay, just double checking.
Yeah, I misled him, but he corrected himself because he's a smart, and I'm not.
Brinkley
No
Bramble.
worries.
Bramble.
And to answer your question, Pat, no.
Damn it. So I want to go live with Mom.
Do it.
I don't care.
Good. I'll pack your bags. Little shit.
Now you sound like Mom.
Now you sound like Fuel Bob.
Now you sound like
Flashback, Kenny going, I'm gonna run away.
No, that wasn't Kenny. That was me.
Oh, that's right. I thought it was you, and then
Yeah,
Kenny
it
also
wasn't.
tried doing
Kenny
it.
did try to do it, and I was like, yo.
So,
don't.
Zow.
Yeah.
Especially with your
quick,
mom.
quick story
No.
for everyone on stream. When I was little, I told my mom to her face that I was going to run away. And my mom said, oh, yeah? Good. And then she packed me a suitcase and locked me outside. Like, no shit. And then, like, I was banging on the door asking. This is a sensory, like, I remember this. It scarred me so much. And, like, she only left me outside for, like, 15 seconds, but I was freaking out. And then she opened the door and said, are you ever going to say you're going to run away again? And I said, no. And I literally never did. Not
You know,
one
next
time.
time that I see your mother, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna run away.
Yeah. And she will lock you outside. It's just what's going to happen. So yeah,
That's great.
It was good times. Good times. And then my brother also was like, I'm going to run away. And I was like, don't do that. Don't say those
Fucking
words
say it.
in that order. Awesome. Everyone good? We leveled up. We're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
I'm
our
Yeah.
max hit points corrected and stuff.
Yep. I'm gonna
All of us
figure out
triple
my.
digit?
Yeah.
I
Ah.
think so. Aldo, are you triple digits?
Well, I've been triple digits, baby. I'm up to 134 now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Woo.
Hell yeah, we all trippies. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out for another episode of Dungeons and Dragons and Junk Drawer.
Dang.
Ding.
We will be back next week between 8:30 and 9:30. We greatly appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we will see you all back here next time. Take it easy, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to write.
I can't read.